What's going on, CrossFit Federal Way? It is Monday. We're kickstarting August. I can't believe that it's already this late in the year. 2020 has been an absolute crazy year for all of us, and I know it, you know it. But anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about what we're getting ourselves into to start the week off. So we're going to start off our week with a heavy thruster. So we're going to take 20 minutes to establish a heavy set of 2. Now this is from the floor. It is not from the rack. So you're going to have to squat clean or clean it, power clean it, and then go into your thruster. So that will mean that you won't be going maybe as heavy as you would have if it's from the rack, but there's a reason why we're doing that, and that is to limit the amount of load to naturally have that squat clean limit the amount of load that an athlete will put themselves through, because the first few days of this week are going to be rough because they're going to be good, hard training days, and we want to make sure that what's coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday this week, that you guys are still good for that. So being mindful of that stuff, that's sometimes one of the reasons why we would do something from the floor versus from the rack, is because, again, naturally you're going to see that those numbers on the board be a little bit lower, which is good for the overall stimulus of what we're doing the rest of the week. So we're going to start off with that. Once we're done with our 20 minutes, we're going to transition over, and then our workout for the day, it's going to start off with a running clock. So with a running clock, you have 5 minutes to complete 4 rounds. Oh, I didn't put the 4 rounds on there. Cool. Of 4 thrusters, 95 pounds for the guys, 65 pounds for the gals, 30 double unders. While the rep scheme here isn't crazy, it's not that many double unders, it's not that many thrusters. What you're going to run into is it is a challenge on transition time. So to do 4 rounds of this in 5 minutes means I have, 1:20 to do each. That means that I cannot take my time, my sweet time, transitioning from my 4 thrusters to my rope and getting my double unders done. And the goal probably for most of us will be try to do this as close to unbroken as possible and as quickly as possible. So that way we can rest a little bit, because at the 5-minute mark on the clock, we have an 8-minute AMRAP. Now this is where our score actually comes in for this workout. It's an 8-minute AMRAP of overhead squats, 95, 65, so you don't have to change the weight on the bar, and chest to bar pull-ups, and it's an ascending rep scheme. So starts off with 3 of each, then 6, then 9, then 12, then 15, and you're seeing how far you can get. So the way you score this workout is, let's say at the end of 8 minutes, I finished my round of 15, and I was let's say I was 10 reps into my overhead squats, my round of 18. Then my score is going to be 15 plus 10, because I want to include whatever the last complete round that I did all of my overhead squats, my chest to bar pull-ups on for that score. So let's talk about our standards today, starting with the thruster. Now, if I'm doing thrusters for load, obviously the weight on the barbell is going to go up with every attempt. But when I'm doing a set of 2, sometimes it's easier to do a heavy single than it is to string heavy reps together, because I can just squat clean it, get the thruster out of the way, drop the bar, and be done with it. But if I'm doing 2, I got to re-rack that bar and successfully complete my second rep. So taking it from the floor, again, I'm going to squat clean, and I can go straight into my thruster. When I'm bringing that bar back down, I want to make sure that it's coming to my shoulders before I descend into my second rep. A lot of times what you'll see is someone will start to squat down as that bar comes down with them. And what that has a tendency to do is to cause that bar to crash down onto your shoulders, making you lose your midline in the bottom of that thruster, and then you're fighting through this awkward position to get up here and have no momentum to actually press out and finish that rep. So be mindful of how you're working through that eccentric phase of your second rep on the heavy thruster. And then that's enough on heavy thrusters. Obviously you guys get it, we've done plenty of thrusters before. We will have plenty more in the future. But again, working up to a heavy set of 2 from the floor. So then we transition over to the workout. Start with those 5 minutes of 4 thrusters, which I just demonstrated. So 4 thrusters into 30 double unders. When we talk about quick transitions, I want you to to be mindful of how you place your rope down on the ground. If I finish my double unders, so cool, done, and I just toss my rope off to the side, I'm gonna spend so much time messing around with my jump rope every time I finish. So let's say I do my thrusters and I just toss my rope off to the side. I have to then go grab my rope, pick it up. If it's all tangled up, I have to untangle the dang thing before I can actually get my feet through, get set, and start moving. So I want you to think about when we're doing those double unders. Again, as I'm doing my double unders, let's say that's 29, 30. That was actually 3 reps instead of 2, but you get the point. I'm gonna set my, goodness sake. See how much time you waste playing with your rope? I'm gonna set my rope down and then move on to my thrusters. That way when I come down, when I get done with my 4 thrusters, I come back to my rope, I can pick it up, step through, and go straight into my next set of doubles. And again, setting it down before I go back to my bar. So do your best even though you're tired, even though your heart rate's spiked. So be mindful of how you're placing your equipment to make those transitions easier, because that 5 minutes is not going to be near as long as you think it will be. So we get through that and then into overhead squats and chest to bar pull-ups. So for my overhead squat, I'm going to go wide grip on the bar, take it up overhead, and then from here, drive up into that bar. Active shoulders, active upper back, and then hip crease below the top of the knee. Stand it back up. Make sure you're standing all the way up. Really common on overhead squats when we go fast, to see those squats where they only go part way up and come back down and feel like you're doing the thing, but squeeze your butt, hips through at the top every single time. So we start off with 3 reps of that overhead squat, and then we go to chest to bar pull-ups. Now, when I'm looking at regular kipping pull-ups, the chest to bar and the regular kip are pretty similar. Biggest difference here that can make a difference for you guys is going to be think maybe my grip is a little wider, because that creates more space for getting my chest to the bar. And then when I'm actually pulling up to the bar, I want to think about trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together, maybe even try to touch my elbows together. Not that it's going to happen, but the difference of a lazy chest to bar pull-up and actively reaching with that chest for that bar, that's a big difference in range of motion. Could be 2-3 inches for some of us, depending on our thoracic mobility. So I really want you thinking about reaching for the for that bar with your chest, thinking about squeezing your elbows together. That way you're going to pull to the bar, as opposed to doing a really aggressive pull-up and hoping that you hit, again, that collarbone or below is where we're aiming for the chest to bar. If I'm not getting below my collarbone, that doesn't count. Or if I'm just getting my chin over, yeah, it's a really good pull-up, but it's not a good chest to bar pull-up. So again, a little more aggressive on the kip and really thinking about squeezing those elbows together at the top. So I'll demo just a few reps here. So I'm really pulling back on my elbows and reaching for that bar with my chest. So that's what we're getting ourselves into. Again, ascending rep scheme on that, adding 3 reps to each movement every time we finish a round. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, so on and so forth. So again, that's what we're diving into today. It's going to be a good time. Just getting the week started off with, a moderately heavy barbell, a little bit of gymnastic work, and a whole lot of heavy breathing. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to this one. Can't wait to see you guys in the gym. It's going to be a good week, especially knowing what we've got ahead of ourselves this week after we finish Monday. So with that, have a good time with this one, guys. Let's get after it.